Here's the one thing that every top agent I have ever coached has in common, and that is that they all follow a business plan. Right now, you know this is true. You clicked on this video because you saw in the title, we're talking about business plan, we're talking about ensuring your success, we're talking about making sure you're not just winging it. And I'm betting if you're watching this video, which by the way, I'm producing at the end of 2025, November 2025, maybe you didn't have the year you wanted to have in 2025 and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I need to stop winging it. Or maybe you had a great year and you're looking to get to your next level, and so you're looking for some refinements. Either way, in this video, I'm gonna give you the 10 essential elements necessary for building a great business plan. Now, I'm not the only guy who talks about having a great agent business plan, but if you like what I have to share with you today, I would encourage you, watch this video again, okay? Make sure at least you got, a legal pad, or you're in your Evernote or whatever you're using to take notes, because I'm gonna share quite a bit here with you that you're gonna wanna walk back through, whether with your broker or if you have a coach, you're gonna walk it back through with them or through by yourself, right? I mean, you wanna have some self-accountability here, but there are 10 essential elements that you're gonna need to have clarity around to make sure that you have a great year in 2026. I mean, that's what I wanna make sure you do. Make a lot of money, live a great quality of life. That is a great real estate coach or broker's job. I happen to be both, and so let's get into it. Okay, number one is the foundation of your plan, and there's 3 elements to your foundation. Number one is, what's the vision for your business in 2026? Like, what do you want it to look like? By the end of the year in 2026, what's it look like? How do you feel, right? Like, what are you doing? What's the overall picture in your mind so that you can have clarity, because you can't hit a target if you don't have one. So let's get the target clear. What's the vision? Number 2 is, what's the purpose, or what is driving you every day to work harder, work smarter, follow this plan, do what you said you were going to do, and do it all the way until you get the results. What is emotionally driving you? I don't know. You want to provide a better quality of life for your family. Your kid's going to college next year, and you need to, make extra money to get, pay that college tuition. Maybe you want to buy a house. You're saving money for retirement. You want to pay off some debts. Whatever. What is really driving you to succeed at a level you really want to, such that you would create and follow and execute a plan? And then number 3 on foundation is identity. Okay. Who do you need to become in 2026 to level yourself up? It'll start with looking at who you are now, or who were you in 2025, that, maybe what worked, right? Ideally, some things worked, and maybe what didn't. What are the limiting beliefs, the sabotaging behaviors, the bad habits that might be getting in the way that we need to get out of the way so that you can have the year you really want to have? And then who do you need to become? Right? At an identity level, who do you need to become in 2026? Maybe it's, I've been a buyer's agent, and who I really want to become is a listing agent. Okay. Maybe it's, I've been on someone's team and now I'm venturing out on my own. I don't know what it is for you, but I want you to know exactly what it is. In my coaching program, I teach that foundational element of vision, purpose, and identity. I'm just high leveling it here with you today. I could take you a little bit deeper. I think I've actually shot some content where I do exactly that. But you got to have that foundation be solid as we now construct the rest of the plan. Okay, number 2 is, you got to know your numbers. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. I want you to look at your production from 2025 at the rest of your thought. 2024, 2023. It's okay, that's enough. 2023, so that you can look historically at the following. Number 1, how many transactions have you done each year? Have you been flat, down, or up? What is the percentage of sellers to buyers, right? Have you been predominantly a buyer's agent? Have you been kind of 50-50 sellers and buyers? Are you in a more healthy ratio that I teach, which is at least 70% sellers, 30% buyers? Hey, you want to make more money in 26? List more properties, right? Be more of a listing agent, shift more of your ratio over to sellers. What was your average selling price? What was your average commission per transaction side? You need to know your numbers so that you can figure out if you're working the business the way you want to, okay? I did just record another video, how to add $100,000 in income to your business in the next 12 months. It started with list more, right? That's the magic of every real estate agent's business is you got to list more. Number 2 is do more transactions. When you list more, you will do more deals. Number 3 is raise your price point. And number 4 is charge more. Okay, so you got to know where you're at relative to your business for the last year, if you've only been in it for a year, or the last 3 years at least, so that as you go into 2026, you can now have an understanding of, okay, this is what my businesses look like. This is where I want the business to go, so that I can have a good understanding of my numbers, my targets of where I want to go. Then I want you to break it down by lead source, okay? If I did 12 deals as an example in 2025 or 24 or 36, I don't care. What percentage of it came from your sphere direct, right? People in your sphere of influence that used you to buy or sell directly. Or sphere referrals, right? How many people came to you from your sphere of influence by referral? What percentage of the deals that you did in 25, 24, 23? What about your geographic farm? What about open houses, etc.? So I want you to break it down by lead source. And here's why. You're going to be able to look at and even go as far as, well, what was my price point? How much I charge by lead source? Because what you're going to see is some patterns start to show themselves. So you know where to put your resources in 2026, namely time, energy, attention, and money. Oh yes, we got to talk about our budget and how we're going to plan financially for 2026 as well. Okay, so number 2 is you got to know your numbers, what happened in the past, and then what do we want it to look like in 2026. And it'll be easy for you to come up with a number. I teach all of my agents, you got to come up with your floor, minimum number of transactions you will accept from yourself without putting yourself in timeout, right? Your target, like what are you really shooting for? What's the actual goal that you're centered on, you're focused on? I'm helping 18 families in 2026. I'm helping 36 families. I'm helping 136 families in 2026, whatever it might be. What's that price point? What is your gross commission income that you want to earn? What's the sales volume you want to capture so that you know exactly what you're going after in 2026? Okay, number 3 is your brand. Now, what do I mean? What I mean about your brand is, what do people think of when they think of you? Okay, if I went online right now and I searched your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, your website, your Google My Business listing, what's it look like? Does it tell me you're a listing agent? Does it tell me you're a buyer's agent? Is it up to date? Is your brand cohesive across all of your platforms? Do you just have the same profile picture on all of these different platforms, or is it all over the place? Okay. What do people think of when they think of you? Okay. Now, a quick little note on branding. I've done some recordings on branding. You can own words. So what are the core words that you would use to explain how you do what you do, right? Loyal, honest, responsive, on time, expert negotiator, whatever they might be. I want you to land on 3 to 5 words that would indicate your brand, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a very consistent messaging, right? A very cohesive messaging across your platforms, because the more cohesive and consistent and constant your message is, the easier it is for people to remember you. And that's the point. Everybody in your world's got to know what you do, and then you can never let them forget, right? And the way you do that is through a combination of selling, marketing, and brand building. And building a brand that is recognizable is one of the best ways for you to build a sustainable brand and most definitely have a good year in 2026. Okay, number 4 is strategy, or said another way, lead sources. Like, what is your strategy for generating the number of transactions you want to generate, and specifically where they're going to come from? So let's just real quick go over the different lead pillars that I believe exist in the real estate sales business. Really, there's 4, okay? There's your sphere, and I broke that down into direct sphere, referrals from sphere, and then you can grow your sphere, right, by adding people into your sphere, into your database through networking, through community involvement, whatever it is you're doing out in the world to bring people into your sphere of influence. Every top agent that I have coached, and you know this to be true if you are one of them or you know agents that are producing at a high level, they will tell you their number 1 source of business always is their sphere of influence. It's just how it works, okay? Second lead pillar is going to be geographic, open houses, which I still believe is a great way to generate business. You're in a storefront, you're interacting with people right there live. You can knock on doors around the neighborhood. I may be old school. I know you can use webinar funnels, and I'm not telling you not to do all those things. I'm just giving you the different options that you can look at. Direct outbound prospecting to home sellers. If I were to restart my business all over again, I am old school in that way. I call the people that own houses, but I open relationships for the people that own houses. I want to know people that own houses because I'm a listing agent, is what I would do. And then geographic farming, right? You got to own a geographic area. You got to get to know that area. You got to be the mayor of that area, etc. Number 3 is referral partners. You need partners who are referring you business, other realtors, mortgage people, title people, insurance people, lawyers, accountants, financial advisors. You need to have inbound referrals coming into you so that you're not doing all the heavy lifting of chasing constantly. And then number 4 is marketing based, both paid and unpaid marketing. We'll talk more about that as we go. Okay, number 5 are the tactics or the activities that you need to do in either a one-to-one or one-to-many format that would be either to known or warm or unknown or cold. Okay, so let's talk about it. One-to-one known or warm is going to be your face-to-face, your voice-to-voice, your outbound warm reach-outs. You got to do it, right? You can't avoid it. Now, maybe it's DMs, maybe you're emailing. I've always liked the telephone. I'm just good with my voice, right? I think that people want to connect with you. I know it depends on, generationally, right? Some people are more inclined to use, DMing or whatever. One-to-one warm. We got to do the same thing for cold, right? I mean, if you don't have enough business, you're going to have to find a way to get people who don't know you to do business with you because you don't have enough people that know you doing business with you. Okay, so you can do one-to-one, also the reach outs. On the one-to-many side, you're going to have either content, like I'm doing right now. Maybe I don't know you. You're watching my video. Maybe you like me, you don't like me. If you're still watching, I guess you like what I'm saying, right? But this is a one-to-many content on YouTube. We're going to put this out on our email. We're going to put this out, little links on our Instagram and our TikTok and all those kinds of things. But this is one-to-many, me getting to know you so that you can consume my content. And maybe, hey, if you're an agent in my market, you want to join me in my brokerage. If you're an agent elsewhere, you want to jump into one of our coaching programs. That's why I'm doing this, right? Or one-to-many paid is advertising. Right? You can run ads on Meta or Google pay-per-click or all the different ways that you can generate business in a paid marketing format. Okay, so those are your strategic options, your strategic lead pillars. You got to figure out which ones you're going to execute on. Now, one way to know is going back to step 2, which was look at what you did already in the past. What worked well for you? You know what? Do more of that. If it worked well, do more of it. I know you're with me on this. Okay, number 6 is your schedule dialed in. Okay, if you look at your life, I run my life on a weekly rhythm. Okay, Monday to Sunday. Sunday's the end of the week. Monday's the beginning of the week for me. I run on a weekly rhythm. I'm hoping you do the same thing, but you want to have a schedule that reinforces and supports the vision that you're creating. And the only way you can do that is one day and 1 week at a time. This is my philosophy anyway. It doesn't have to be true for you, but I'm guessing if you didn't have the year you wanted to have in 2025, it was because your schedule is all over the place, right? You're winging it, you're unstructured, you're disorganized, you're not following a schedule, and that's not a good plan. So here's what I would do. Monday to Sunday, look at when you need to execute the activities we just talked about. Okay. I'm not talking about when you're going to work your buyers, when you're going to work your sellers. I'm talking about from a schedule standpoint, when are you going to lead generate? When are you going to lead follow up? When are you going to lead convert? Okay. And can you do it in a systematic way where you also have time for, well, I got to do my buyer showings. I got to set searches and do my showings. Do those in the afternoon. I got to take my listing appointments. I got to show my listings. Do those in the afternoon. Do those on the weekends, because in the mornings, I'm going to encourage you to lead generate. I'm going to encourage you to lead follow up. I'm going to encourage you to lead convert in the morning so you get that done before you get on with the rest of your day. What about a schedule for when you're doing your marketing, your social media posting, or your email marketing? All of that needs to be baked into a schedule with a rhythm of consistency so that you know when you're going to do what you do. And then, of course, you got to follow it. Right? Then you got to, of course, do what you said you were going to do, which leads me to my next point, number 7, which is systems. Got to have some systems here. It's going to be almost impossible if you don't build a system for how you're going to succeed. And a system is nothing more than a duplicatable, repeatable process that you have either documented or you know how to follow consistently over and over again, right? That's a system. I mean, you have a system for, how you get up in the morning and get ready for your day. That's a system. If you got kids, you have a system for getting them off to school. You have a system for making dinner at night. You have a system for putting them to bed. It's a system. Okay. So you want to follow a system in your real estate sales business. You're also going to need operational tools. Do you have a database and a system for managing your database, right? Do you have a transaction processing system? Hopefully you're with a brokerage like mine, for example, where we provide you with all the systems and operational background to help make your life easier. If you're not, maybe talk to your broker or find a broker. I'm not telling you to change brokerages, but find the support that is necessary that maybe have some systems built in. The operational systems built in. And then team, okay? I have found that it's very hard to succeed alone at a level that really matters, okay? There really is no such thing as a self-made success. We need each other, man. This real estate business, it's a hard business. It's really hard to do alone. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. And so in our organization, for example, team is everything. Collaboration is everything. And my advice would be for you to identify who's on your team. Now, hopefully if you're, in a relationship, your spouse or your partner's on your team. If you got kids, I mean, they're on your team, right? Because they have to understand that you're going to have time away from family time on the weekends, for example, because you're a real estate agent and this is the life you signed up for, right? Hopefully you've got, a coach is great to have on your team or a great broker to have on your team, right? And then accountability is absolutely essential. We are awful at holding ourselves accountable. You know what I'm talking about. We let ourselves slip all the time, right? But we get rewarded in public for what we do in private. And a coach is great to help you hold yourself accountable, right? Because now it's like you don't want to show up to a conversation, especially if you're paying for it and saying, I'm not doing what I'm doing. At least that person can help you figure out why you may not be doing what you're doing. You can't have your spouse be your accountability partner. That's a bad plan. Kids actually make great accountability partners, by the way. You really want to get your success done. You want to get your work done, right? Tell your kid that you're taking them to Disney World for, the end of next year. They'll make sure you show up at work every day. You know what I'm talking about. All right, anyway, accountability, right? So number 7 was systems, team, accountability, okay? Number 8 is skills. What are the skills that you need to get better at in 2026? What are the skill gaps you have now? I tell every agent that if there's a gap in your business, it's in one of 3 areas: your mindset, which could be a thinking skill issue, your activities, like maybe you're just not doing enough of the stuff you need to do, or you're doing the wrong stuff, or your skill set, right? Maybe you're just not very good at closing buyers when it comes time for them to sign a buyer broker agreement, which of course is now the new practice requirement for all of us realtors here in the United States. Maybe you're getting listing appointments, but you're not closing the listings because you're not good at overcoming the objections that come up in every listing. Whatever it might be, maybe it's marketing. You need to get better at marketing or talking to a camera because, by the way, this is the absolute best way for you to market yourself, whether you're doing it on social platforms or YouTube or whatever. But maybe you're just not very good at it. And maybe you just need to get better at it. It's a mindset issue or it's a skill issue. Okay, so what skills do you want to get better at in 2026? That's going to be an essential part of your business plan because then you can get some help. Right? You can get better at it faster rather than just continuing to do the same old thing and expecting different results. Of course, that's not going to work. All right, number 9 is we got to look at the numbers on your business. We got to look at the math on your business. What is the profitability on your business? Are you running a profit and loss on your business? How much income are you bringing in, right? Your gross commission income. How much are you paying out to, if you're not a broker, right? You're affiliated with a brokerage. What are you paying out to your brokerage? What is the value for what you're paying out to your brokerage, right? So I'm a broker owner. I'm certainly not the cheapest game in town, but my agents get way more value than they ever pay me for. And they can document it. I can document it. And they know exactly what it is, right? You need to know what value you're getting from that line item on your profit and loss. Okay, what about your marketing expense? And what about your marketing expense per channel? If you're geographic farming, okay, how much money did you spend in your geographic farming last year? And what was your return on that investment? So that you can then go into 2026 and say, okay, I spent $10,000 in geographic farm marketing last year, but it earned me $30,000 in gross commission income. That's a 300% return. That's a great return that I would do every day of the week. Put $1 in, get $3 out. Of course, you do that every day of the week. Cool. Let me put more money into geographic farming in 2026 because I got a 3x return in 2025. You feel me? You know what I'm talking about here? So you want to look at your profit and loss statement so that you can look at how profitable is my business, right? Am I getting the return on investment that I need to be getting, that I expect to be getting, that I want to be getting from each of my lead sources? Maybe you've got some help. You've got an administrative assistant. You're paying a transaction coordinator. Okay, how much money did you allocate toward that in 25 or 24 or 23? What does it look like for you to allocate in 2026? And what is your expected return on that investment? You know, that transaction coordinator frees you up to do more business. Have you quantified that? Do you know what that looks like? Okay. And then finally, number 10, I know I'm going on here for a minute. Number 10 is, what is your personal plan? What is your personal success plan? What is your personal growth plan? Whether it be spiritually, whether it be physically, are you taking great care of yourself? What about relationally, right? Are you maximizing the important relationships in your life? What about helping to grow your mindset? Are you in a growth mindset? Are you been in a fixed mindset? Do you need to attend some seminars or some workshops to help grow yourself at a personal level? What about being a parent? Are you being the parent you really want to be? And then I want you to bake it into a calendar. So the final bonus point, number 11, I didn't tell you we would have 11, we really do, is map out the entire 12 months of your year in advance. Somebody I follow online, you might want to check him out. His name is Jesse Itzler. He's a great entrepreneur, and I just love his vibe. I met him personally, great guy. And he markets a program or a product called the Big Ass Calendar. Okay. And essentially what it is a big wall calendar. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's a big wall calendar with all 365 days mapped out on the calendar. And then he maps out his entire 52 weeks, his entire 12 months, his entire 365 days in advance of the year so that, you know, stuff doesn't just come up, right? And take him off path, right? When am I taking my vacations? What do I already know that I have on track for my kids? What do I already know that I have on track with my relationship? Because we got to make time for the things that matter. And then what we start to do is we say, all right, I'm going on this conference here, I'm going on this convention. And you start to see how your year is going to unfold 12 months in advance. I mean, that is super powerful. Okay, I've given you a lot to digest here, a lot to think about. I didn't want to turn this into an hour-long coaching session with you. I don't know how long I've been talking, probably 20 minutes. Go back and watch this video again. You can write all these things down and you can start mapping out the plan. If you want to, you know, come back to me, ask me some questions. I'm easy to find online. You can find me. You can put some comments here in the video. I want you to have a great year in 2026. I want to see you follow a plan that is going to at least get you closer to hitting your targets than if you didn't have one, right? We both know that your chances for success are a lot greater if you follow a plan. Okay, here we come 2026. Let's do it.